What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again. So we're going to be doing another a side-by-side comparison of two emergency games. This time we've got Rescue 2 and 911 First Responders, or Emergency 4 depending on where you live. So I did this not too long ago with a video between Mission Chief and 911 operators, and it was pretty popular, and I had a few people ask me to do it again. So I picked two games that I feel were pretty similar in respects to how they play out and stuff. So let's go ahead and compare the two. So a disclaimer for Emergency 4, we are playing the vanilla version. It does lack a lot of the features and stuff that you see in some of the mods, but you know, I feel that is a fair comparison when kind of going up against like Rescue 2, which doesn't actually support any mods. You basically get to see both games at their base gameplay level. So we're doing some free mode for the basic Emergency 4, and then we're doing a playthrough of Rescue 2. Anyways, so basically we've got our first call on both of them here. We've got a police call for Emergency 4, which we've already dealt with, and then we've got a call for 911 or Rescue 2 at a gas station. So Rescue 2 is a lot more micromanagement heavy in a lot of respects. You know, with Emergency 4, you can tackle it with a lot of that micromanagement stuff, but just generally, I've never really felt it necessary to do that. Sometimes you'll do it for fun, with the exception of the campaign. The campaign does take a lot of micromanagement stuff to deal with those calls in most cases, especially with something like the LA mod campaign missions, even more so. But with that being said, you know, that's basically just like that off the get-go for all of the Rescue 2 calls. You are going to have to forgive me on one of these Rescue 2 calls. I couldn't remember how to hook up the standpipe properly to get that working, so I kind of screwed around with that for a while. So actually I've got to cut that out, so this is going to be a little bit shorter than I originally anticipated, I think. I've got extra footage here, so I should be able to cut that out without too much of an issue. So we're going to go for about a half an hour here, give or take, and we're just going to watch these two games. So, you know, Rescue 2 is definitely, it's the newer of the two games. It's a lot more expensive than Emergency 4. Emergency 4 usually goes somewhere between like $1 to $5, depending on where you live. It's actually on sale right now, I believe, through Steam for like $1.89. So that's a pretty good deal that they've got on it. Rescue 2 is also on sale. I think that one's going for around $15 to $20, although I'm not certain. It might be more than that. With Rescue 2, the micromanagement does extend outside of calls too. Each person that you have has a rank assigned to them. They rank up as they achieve more missions. You know, they learn new abilities. They get different tools that you can take on and off of your various apparatus and cop cars and stuff like that. Well, I guess you don't have cop cars, but ambulances and fire trucks and stuff like that. You can control what tools are on each of them. You have to keep them repaired and maintained. You choose what staff goes where on those apparatus, all sorts of stuff. You can even change the colors of the apparatus to various different colors. As you can see, I've got both black and red units responding to this call. So yeah, it's definitely, they're, in a lot of ways, they're very different games. I would say Emergency 4 feels a lot less confined when you're on calls. Rescue 2, it's got some very good micromanagement, but the calls start to feel kind of repetitive, especially because you're blocked off in an instance section, and you tend to respond to calls in the same part of the map most of the time. Once in a while you'll get into like a different area or have to attack it a different way because the calls varied somewhat, but you know, there isn't huge amounts of variation. I think you actually do see that once or twice in Rescue 2 here. Whereas, you know, these calls in Emergency 4 are all handled a little bit differently. You know, you're looking now, our first call was like a pickpocket or something. Now we've got a barricaded hostage situation. Oh, that is actually the other thing I wanted to mention, is that the dispatcher you're hearing for Emergency 4 here is the like a modded version of the dispatcher for like I think the LA mod is what he's supposed to be from. So that's actually not the original dispatcher. So failed that, kind of falling behind here. These first couple missions didn't go super hot for me. We kind of make up for that later on, despite it start getting crazy. On the other hand, Rescue 2, we achieved our mission. You know, we saved our victims. Everybody got out okay, no issues. I believe this second or third call I get for that tends to be a pretty long call. And I had some issues with it, so like I said, I'll probably end up cutting some time out of this. I've got a lot of stuff to cut out of Emergency 4 because I've got about 45 minutes worth of footage, and I want to try and knock this down to like half an hour or 20 minutes, something like that. I still haven't quite decided. I think maybe I'll go for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes instead, because that's plenty long enough for the purpose of this video, I think. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a tough choice. Now, if I were to say straight up pick one Emergency 4 or Rescue 2, personally, I'd probably choose Emergency 4 every time for the mods. Now, with that being said, if it was just to pick one of these two games straight up out of the box, no mods, nothing, that's a lot tougher of a choice for me. I might, at that point, actually say Rescue 2. You know, obviously Rescue 2, being a newer game by virtue, has better graphics. A lot of the systems and stuff are very similar. They're probably very much inspired by Emergency 4. You know, so there's a lot of similarities, like I said, between these games. But, you know, that's a tough call. But with mods, you know, with the pricing taken into consideration with that too, and the community, Emergency 4 wins hands down every time. But you take away the mods. Maybe take away the community because that kind of becomes unnecessary if you don't have the mods. You know, it puts those games on very even footing then. Still, Emergency 4 is a good game either way. Even the vanilla game's still quite good. It doesn't necessarily stack up quite as well to a lot of the stuff that you see in Rescue 2. A lot of the features and stuff that made it into that, you know, being a newer game and stuff. So we're responding to, you know, several calls now in Emergency 4. We're only responding to, I think, our second call now for Rescue 2. Now, bear in mind when I'm watching this, I'm watching both games side by side, so I'm not really fully watching either, because I'm trying to watch both and talk to you guys. But we've got our patient rescued here on the one from the hostage situation. He got sniped by our sniper trying to get to the getaway car and deciding to attack our guys. I made the mistake of not pulling my police back before the rescue car got there. But the hostages got out safe. None of our officers got injured, so it's not too bad. The only person who got hurt was the hostage taker, and he died. Oh well, you know, it sucks for him. He made bad life choices. On the other hand, Rescue 2, you know, we're on our second call only. We've done a lot less, but the calls are a lot more involved. We've got some sort of riot situation or natural disaster or something. There's a lot of car fires. There's barricades and stuff on the road. Looks like a riot situation, more than likely. There's a lot of roadblocks and stuff like that. There is a campaign mode, and most of these calls and stuff are inspired by the campaign mode, but they do vary somewhat from, you know, mission to mission with them being randomly generated, since they'll pop up a few times. We're responding to a car accident now in Emergency 4, and we're trying to work our way into a small complex of some kind. It's all gated in. It might be like a it looks like it's a body shop or something, because there's like a gas pump and then like a garage and stuff, so it's hard to say for sure what that would be. In the meantime, we've got, you know, I think it's foam tender or water tender, I can't remember. It's probably foam. And he's starting to work on putting fires out and like shops and on the cars and stuff like that. And we're going to start taking our guys. One of the other things I really don't like about Rescue 2, and you guys kind of see it here, is that you can't select multiple people at once to like work on a single objective. So you have to like select one person and select another. And you can do it by clicking on their icons that they have. since you only have 4 units and each person's assigned to a specific vehicle, it's fairly easy to micromanage people with that list. But sometimes you just naturally want to be able to like highlight them and then like click on a spot on the map or go somewhere on the map really quick and just tell them, hey, I want all of you guys to go there, instead of having to like individually click each person, which is kind of annoying. So they're going to do their thing. You know, we've got all of our guys here, and you know, they're all going out to do their you know, assigned tasks, go to their specific positions. In the meantime, you know, we've got that wall broken down, so we're gonna start getting in there and clearing out debris to get to that person on the rooftop, or be able to get to them when the ladder gets there. We are going to open that gate first so it can get in. You know, emergency 4, we've got 2 calls currently ongoing, with 1 just solved. We've got, you know, that injured person, and then we've got another call here too that we're working on. So that injured person's getting patched up. And we still got that getaway car. You know, I've never really played around with the getaway car a lot, so I didn't really know how to get rid of it for sure. As it turns out, it's a tow truck. If it gets stuck out there, you just have to tow it. Not a big deal, it works, I guess, but yeah, there it is. And yeah, so we're just continue on with these calls here. We're already at 11 minutes. I might just go for the 20-minute mark. I'm thinking to try and skip over that last call on the one mission, you know, at the thing at the place that does stuff. On the high-rise mission for Rescue 2, because like I said, I couldn't get that standpipe to work, and I like stopped playing to try and look it up and couldn't find it online and all this other stuff. So yeah, we're just gonna keep spectating, or at least I will be until then, and just kind of commentating on it. But yeah, I'm thinking we'll probably end it at 20 minutes or so. We're pretty close to that. The last video was like exactly half an hour, which is just so perfect, but not worried about being that exact. So we got our guys breaking down barriers, and you know, emergency 4, we're just watching our units return to the base. Got kind of a quiet moment on there. So as you guys can see, emergency 4, generally speaking, has a lot more going on as far as call volume, and the calls can still get really involved, even like Rescue 2, but there's not necessarily as much micromanagement needed in most cases. Some mods increase that, some decrease the amount of micromanagement you need to do, or automate it a little bit more. We've got an arsonist that just popped up, so we've got to get a police officer on scene to stop him, and then we've got to get several apparatus, because it is a larger building in a highly populated area, which means that fire has a lot of places to spread to. You know, in the meantime, we've pretty much gotten rid of most of the barricades. We've still got a little bit left here to take care of, but just about there.
Engine 33, Engine 57, Engine 64, Engine 66, Battalion.
Ladder truck's setting up right now. He's getting ready to deploy the ladder, and we're going to send our person up there to retrieve that civilian.
We're advising rescue to respond.
Understood.
Ambulance is arriving on scene for that call. Or, you know what, that's right, I didn't send him to deploy that, I sent him to put that fire out first. Meanwhile, we're dealing with our arsonist. The cop car was a little too close to the fire though, and it's starting on fire. It's going to explode. I'm gonna try to put that out with the water tender. It was too little, too late. It exploded. Thankfully, it did not take the apparatus with it, and now the firefighters were out, so they're all okay. In the meantime, our cop is struggling with the suspect, the arsonist, and they're not doing so hot. They are getting their butt kicked. That happens every once in a while when you're trying to arrest somebody. You know, the person you're trying to arrest is stronger than you. That's why it's always good to have 2 officers in case something like that happens. Usually you can switch out your 2 officers and have the other person actually carry out the arrest. It's pretty unusual for, you know, a suspect to beat up like 2 cops. Well, the cars near the building exploded. Our crew from the engine is all kicked out as the engine is destroyed. So I've told them to evacuate the area to try and get clear of the blast from that. And it is a big blast. Thankfully, they are all pretty far away from it, so they all are okay. The suspect from that is injured. He is that. I'm pretty sure he's that guy that's right under that street light there next to the ladder truck. Not quite sure how that happened. I don't think it was the cop that hit him. He may have been a little too close to one of those cars exploding or something, or to like a loose fire. I don't know. He's dead though. Another explosion, secondary explosion going off somewhere else nearby. On the other hand, Mission Chief or Rescue 2. I keep wanting to say Mission Chief because I'm pretty sure that's where Mission Chief was when we were playing last time. At any rate, Rescue 2, we've completed our other call at that like riot scene. You know, we rescued that person, and you know, now we're back out in the main map. We've got 2 calls that have popped up, so that you can get multiple calls at once, but you're only interacting with one at a time anyways, so it really doesn't feel like there's that much of a rush to get to the calls anyways, because you've got, you know, 2 or 3 minutes to respond, which doesn't sound like much, but the speed units go to get to those calls is pretty quick. So we're gonna start loading that one up, and we've gotten another call. Lightning struck behind this house, and it is just doing a ton of damage. Just a ton of damage. So we're going to start getting guys back there with fire extinguishers. I've only got 4 guys on scene. I do have the water tender, and he's going to do what he can to try and keep that contained. But it is a pretty sizable fire, and we're probably going to want more guys on the ground than what I actually have. But we do have to deal with this arson setup first. You know, we've got the prisoner, and he's a bad guy, but he's dead. You know, he's getting healed up, so doing what we can to try and keep him alive, try and succeed as best as possible during this mission. The other call in Rescue 2 was already dealt with. That was a very easy call. Sometimes they're pretty easy, but generally speaking, they are pretty involved. There's a few different things that you have to do. And there's varying degrees of difficulty, which you can kind of choose yourself. I've got a lot of automated vehicles, so I've got a foam tender, I've got a water tender, you know, I've got a powder tender, and you know, you could set it up and say, well, I want foam, but I only want to work off of my water tender. So you actually have to set up like the foam spray box that converts the water to foam, and then get an attack line set up off of that. So it's pretty interesting. You know, you can do a lot with it, and you can make it a little bit more interesting if you want to challenge yourself some more. Those options are definitely there. We did finally get the fabled high-rise call where I couldn't get the standpipe working because, like I said, I had no idea. I couldn't remember how to use it. I didn't get any high-rise calls a whole lot when I was originally playing this, and since I don't really play it that much anymore, it was kind of difficult to go back and remember all of the controls for it. A lot of misclicking, stuff like that, because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really think I've played this anywhere near the amount I've played Emergency 4, but like I said, a big part of that for Emergency 4 is the game is a lot more popular, and it's got a ton of mods out for it, which simply isn't true for Rescue 2. I've got almost a similar setup for these 2 calls, though. We've got our, our ladder set up and extended. We're rescuing the 2 civilians inside the building. There is a small fire that broke out on the table there, and the adjacent part of the building, there is no way between the 2 buildings, so it's kind of unclear how that fire actually started there. It's kind of questionable. Maybe somebody at the office didn't like them going through the refrigerator and taking their food or something. I don't know. We are at about 20 minutes, though, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. So let me know, what did you guys think of these 2 games? Which of these 2 was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below which one you preferred and why you prefer it. And, you know, if you guys want to see another video like this, maybe we'll do a team up against the 2 winners, or maybe we'll do a 3rd video with some more realistic firefighting stuff, like maybe Firefighters 2014 versus, I don't know, Real Heroes Firefighters or something like that, you know, or maybe No Triff 1112. Anyways, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of this, who you think the winner is in this scenario, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.